Revealed a total of 6 journalists are facing up to a decade behind bars. That's after they were arrested at an anti-Trump protest on the president's inauguration day. Among them is a reporter for RT America, Alexander Rubinstein. Well, RT's Murad Gaziev joins me now in the studio to discuss this further. Murad, thanks for coming in. Now, can you describe exactly what happened to it, Alexander? I mean, do we know the circumstances of his arrest?
Well, Alex works over in RT America in the web projects department, and in that capacity, one of the things he does is he gets a camera or a phone and he goes out to events that are happening, interesting events, and he live streams from them. So that's periscopes, Facebook lives, you know, so people can watch uncensored pictures, you know, without any cuts, without any editing, and comment. And he was doing that at these protests. He was there, he was live streaming. We've got the recording of his live stream, and at the exact moment of his arrest, unfortunately, the feed was off. He had turned it off. What we do know, though, is what he has said, what he has publicly said on his Twitter account. Here it is.
I was hit in the face with a flash grenade. It blinded me for a moment, and my ears were ringing for a while. By the time I was done being treated and could see again, we were encircled by police, and I was told that everybody present would be arrested. It doesn't matter that I'm press.
Now, Alex was, at the time, he was wearing his press ID. He said that there were other journalists there. We also know that, you know, according to various testimonies, that police used the kettling tactic. That's what we saw during the Occupy Wall Street protests, for example, where police would cordon off an area and shuffle all the protesters into a group and then arrest everyone. But, you know, the exact details, well, we'll have to wait.
So what are the charges that Alex and these other media professionals are facing, and are there any witnesses?
Well, the charges are very, very serious. Felony rioting. That carries a maximum sentence of 10 years behind bars, $25,000 in fines. It's a really serious, you know, serious offense and a serious punishment. With regards to a journalist, and he's not the only journalist, there were in all six members of the press that have been presented with charges. They're free now, but they've got hearings in February. Nevertheless, this incident has been condemned by a number of organizations, including the OSCE, which said that media that the media, the journalists should be untouchables until you prove that they did something wrong. Here's the exact quote.
Media watchdog function is especially important around the time of elections and during changes of government, including at the time of inauguration. As long as it is not proven that journalists have taken a direct and active part in hostilities themselves, their activities during public demonstrations should be left unimpaired.
Now, the Committee to Protect Journalists, a big international organization, they've also condemned these arrests. They're saying that, you know, this shouldn't be happening. These people were just doing their jobs. The RT is also, you know, has voiced outrage about this, saying that Alex will have the full support of the RT legal team, and they hope that cooler heads will prevail. As for witnesses, well, we had thousands of people watching his stream. We've got the recording. One woman wrote, you know, I didn't see him doing anything wrong. You know, but without the actual moment of the arrest, well, we'll have to wait and hope that that video comes out.
OK, Murad, thank you for those details. This is a story, of course, that RT will be closely following. It certainly raises a lot of serious concerns about freedom of the press in the US. RT's Murad Gaziev there. Thanks for those details. Well, let's discuss this further now with our guest, Afshin Rattansi, who's the host of RT's Going Underground programme. Afshin, thank you for coming on the programme to talk to us about this. What do you make of the fact that one of our reporters, along with his colleagues, is being charged with felony, a criminal offence?
Well, here at the London Bureau, to my knowledge, we face harassment, but not the prospect of 10 years in prison, none of the journalists here at this bureau. So it is incredibly serious. I mean, quite amazing that organizations like the OSCE, let alone the Committee to Protect Journalists, are now making comments on this. What's surprising, of course, is that RT in the election coverage leading to the inauguration was arguably more fair than all the other fake media, as Donald Trump would call them. So the fact that this should happen as Trump is being inaugurated raises serious questions. One can only hope that the Trump administration will act quickly, just as it has acted quickly to try and stop the fake news of mainstream media in the United States. The United States, of course, has a very long history of harassing journalists, and one only has to look at people like Gary Webb and the fact that, I don't know, organizations like The Intercept have to base themselves in other countries to truly report on the United States because they are fearful for their reporters.
As we understand it, the reporters could have been detained as a result of police making sweeping arrests. What do you make of this practice in itself?
Well, one can but hope these were sweeping arrests, ironically, and not targeted attempts to censor press freedom in the United States. Donald Trump came to power saying he wanted a free press. We must remember that, of course, under Barack Obama, the prosecution of whistleblowers that supplied the press and showed the dirty secrets of his administration, they were treated incredibly harshly. So not a good start to a Trump administration that a reporter like Alex can now face a $25,000 fine and a 10-year sentence in prison for doing his job, just covering with fairness and certainly under the rubric of RT's motto, question more, the protests against Donald Trump becoming president.
Do you think that what's happened to our reporter there and these other reporters is going to deter them from going to cover violent crowds? I mean, surely it's understandable to think that it's their job to go to be in the thick of what's going on, whatever it may be.
Yeah, one must put this in the context of the fact that the mainstream media of the United States, just 6 corporations controlled 90% of all media seen in the United States. Back in 1983, it was 50 companies. So mainstream media, and this is also perhaps why Donald Trump is always so angry with them, because they do act like an echo chamber of arguably neoliberal views, whereas the RT journalist would have just as well covered this demonstration against Donald Trump as he would have covered a demonstration against the Hillary Clintons of this world. So let's hope that the press, which has started to finally call what they would say lies, which they never did under Obama's governance, maybe they were just starting to get a bit stronger. I presume and I hope that our colleagues in the Bureau in Washington, it won't deter them one bit, whilst, of course, RT journalists right across the world will be protesting what seems like an intolerable and flagrant abuse of the United States Constitution, let alone international norms of press freedom.
Certainly is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Afshin Rattansi, thank you for coming on RT International.